Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, a Quinnipiac student was hit by a car over the weekend near the York Hill campus entrance.
Plus, our own Taylor Popielarz sits down with a Quinnipiac professor to discuss the Ebola crisis.
And how often do you use your laptop in class? Q30's Stephanie Fasano takes a look at what's a necessity and what's a distraction in the classroom.
All this and more on the Q30 Newscast.
Live from the Ed McMahon Center, this is the Q30 News Nightcast.
Good evening, Quinnipiac, and welcome to the Q30 Newscast presented by Joya Spa and Salon. I'm Mark Spillane.
And I'm Sarah Faidell.
If you follow us on Twitter, you would have seen that we tweeted about a student who was hit by a car on Sherman Avenue on Monday. Our very own Elijah Westbrook talked to students about whether or not they feel the location where the incident happened is safe.
Just about right here at the intersection of Sherman Avenue and the entrance to the York Hill campus is where Peter Landless, a senior at Quinnipiac University, was struck by a car on Sunday just around 4:30 in the morning. The reason why he was walking down the street at that time of night is unknown, but this raises the questions among many Quinnipiac students. Can anything be done about this intersection, and is it even safe to walk?
I personally have walked at night, and it is kind of scary when you're walking and there's like the turn and the cars get so close to you.
Sherman Avenue, a road that runs past the York Hill entrance, is no stranger to car accidents. Just last week, a Quinnipiac student got into an accident when a car T-boned her at the intersection of Sherman and Whitney Avenues.
I was driving down Sherman Ave, and I was at the corner of Whitney and Sherman, right by Dunkin' Donuts. And this lady pulled out of the parking lot and didn't see me. I don't know, it was kind of rainy. And she hit me right by the driver's side door.
Kozlowski, who is a senior at Quinnipiac, lives on York Hill and uses her car to get to campus every day. She believes that more needs to be done to make sure that this road is safe.
I don't think that area of Sherman Avenue is that safe because you have to triple check every time you pull out of the parking lot by Dunkin'.
The fact that there's no sidewalk makes it really dangerous for pedestrians. And a crosswalk would also be really helpful with, maybe a button to press to change the lights to red.
I think it's difficult, especially with students and people walking at nighttime. It's hard to see there too. And I think if there had a sidewalk, it'd be easier to see students walking so cars didn't have that issue.
The student who was hit by a car is reportedly in stable condition at Yale New Haven Hospital. The driver involved is also in stable condition at the same hospital. No word on the exact injuries. In Hamden, Elijah Westbrook, Q30 News.
Quinnipiac student-run public relations firm Quinnipiac hosted Passionately Pink for the Cure in the Student Center Piazza from 11 to 5 on Wednesday. The event was held to raise money for the Susan G. Komen Foundation, which is dedicated to raising breast cancer awareness. Raffle tickets were sold for a chance to win gift cards to local restaurants, and pink hair strands were sold to help spread awareness across campus.
And this week is National Fire Prevention Week. Public safety is conducting drills here at Quinnipiac to help students prepare for fires on campus. The Arnold Bernard Library on the Mount Carmel campus was evacuated Tuesday morning for a drill. Fire Prevention Week was first created in 1922 after President Woodrow Wilson began National Fire Prevention Day 2 years earlier. The week is assigned a theme each year, and this year focuses on checking your smoke alarm every month.
It's not unusual seeing college students using laptops in the classroom, but is it a good thing?
Well, Q30's Stephanie Fasano has more on the effect laptops may have in the classroom.
Well, technology and learning are beginning to go hand in hand, but which elements are becoming the distraction? I have the latest on laptop etiquette in the college classroom.
Computers can offer advancement to shape the educational experience, but the struggle of finding the balance of technology in the classroom is becoming difficult. Many students believe having their laptop is beneficial, while some professors prefer they keep them closed.
In 2014, it's important to understand that all of the technology that is available and is everywhere is sort of harnessed and used effectively in the classroom. So laptops, whether or not they're effective, really depends on the structure of the class. Laptops are effective when they're used as a tool to engage students, but they have to be used in a very targeted engagement strategy, or else students will use them for other means.
If a laptop is open in class, it presents a temptation to check social media, emails, and other non-classroom related material.
I think that there's some classes that where you don't really need your phone or computer out at all. There can be lecture classes where you don't need it at all. But the thing is, I think that it's very unrealistic to assume as a professor that a student doesn't have their technology within arm's reach.
Studies indicate that students on different technologies during class impairs learning. If they are multitasking, then they are no longer paying attention to what is happening.
I used to choose to use my laptop, but now I stick to handwriting my notes because I've realized how distracted I used to get using my laptop that I never really actually knew what was going on in the class.
But students aren't the only ones looking for a distraction.
If you attend faculty meetings, faculty do the same thing. When they're not engaged and they're on their laptops, they're checking their Facebook or checking their Instagram or their email, the same way students are. It's because it's not about a student-faculty thing. It's not about the technology itself. It's the engagement between the individual who's trying to talk about something and the student.
That isn't to say that, they're not going to stop and check something on their phone, or they're not going to, supposed to be on WordPress and jump over to Instagram or something. I know that happens. I mean, when I'm in meetings, I do it sometimes. I'm not going to lie about that. But the thing is, there's got to be a level of courtesy.
This change in the learning style presents the argument of handwritten notes versus typing notes.
That suggested that handwriting notes is more effective than laptops. Now that study has caused all kinds of faculty to say, well, see, that's why I want to get, but I believe that it's not about the handwriting or the typing, it's about the construction of what you're putting down.
Professors suggest that students should show respect when using their laptops if they want to keep their technology privilege.
I'm here and I'm trying to teach you something, and I don't want to stand up there for 2 hours and waste my time, and I sure as heck don't want to waste your time. So, I just expect a little courtesy back.
Or if you use it as a tool, if you use it as a way to enhance learning, then there's nothing bad about it.
I'm Stephanie Fasano, Q30 News.
Students gathered at the quad this afternoon for a chance to play with puppies. Posters around campus advertised a puppy playpen, but some students were surprised to only find 2 dogs. It was all for a good cause as part of a project for an entrepreneurship class. Juniors Jacob Myers and Danny Devlin worked with the North Haven Animal Shelter for the event. All donations from it are going toward the shelter. More puppies were expected to come, but they were not there for a good reason. They had been adopted.
Everybody loves puppies, everybody loves animals, so we wanted to provide a way to be able to give back to a shelter that takes care of animals.
We put up signs yesterday. We knew it would be a big hit with the puppies. Who doesn't like puppies? You know what I mean? So we kind of considered that it would, but yeah, I was walking across the quad and I just kind of heard the buzz.
Well, Sarah, at least the puppies that weren't here found themselves a home. This year's Quinnipiac Bobcat Dash will be held on Sunday, October 19th, starting at 11 a.m. Teams of 4 people compete in an obstacle course style race beginning on QU's Mount Carmel campus and ending on York Hill. The race is open to the entire Quinnipiac community, and prizes will be given out for best team name, most memorable outfit, top finishing team, and more. Entry is free and registration is open on imleagues.com.
Still to come on the Q30 Newscast, a fire in Hamden is under investigation, and a lunar eclipse gave the moon an interesting look last night.
Plus, Q30's exclusive interview about the Ebola crisis. Stay with Q30. We'll be right back.
Even though it's October, are we really experiencing fall weather yet? Stay tuned for the full 7-day forecast on Q30 News.
Welcome to Joya Spa and Salon in Hamden. Whether you want a new look or the perfect wedding day hair, come to us for complete hair and nail care, cuts, styles, updos, extensions, and beautiful dimensional hair color, as well as manis and pedis, acrylics, gels, and shellac. Treat yourself to a facial, a peel, or microdermabrasion. Relax with a variety of massage techniques, including Swedish and hot stone massage. Joya Spa and Salon. Call today.
Wake up, Quinnipiac! It's the morning after! Hey! Come on, guys, it's time for TMA! Let's go! What's the morning after? Mondays at 10, only on Q30!
The Q30 Newscast is presented by Joya Spa and Salon. For more information, visit www.joyadayspa.com.
A fire broke out in a 2-story garage on Cherry Ann Street in Hamden Tuesday evening. The Hamden Fire Department tweeted out it was responding to the fire, and it stated the blaze was under control. Photos posted on the Hamden Professional Firefighters Facebook page show at least one car destroyed from the blaze, as well as the structure of the garage charred and damaged. Firefighters were able to quickly put out the fire, and the incident is under investigation.
Last night, millions of people across the world looked to the sky for a rare show. A total lunar eclipse occurring from roughly 6:25 to 7:24 a.m. Eastern Time gave the moon a burnt orange color. The blood moon, as it's called, was the second of the year. Its close proximity to Earth caused it to appear roughly 5% larger than the last blood moon in April. Scientists predict 2 more blood moons are coming, with one expected to occur in early April of 2015 and another in late September.
And concerns about the Ebola virus have reached Connecticut. 2 Yale students have voluntarily quarantined themselves following their recent return from Liberia. Officials from the Yale Medical School were quick to say that the students are not believed to be among the infected. The students were working on a computer system in Liberia that would help monitor the Ebola outbreak. According to the Yale Daily News, the students had no direct contact with Ebola patients and are not exhibiting any symptoms.
And from Connecticut to around the world, the Ebola outbreak is making headlines as it continues to spread. As more countries get involved, our own Taylor Popielarz sits down with Quinnipiac political science professor Fodei Batty to talk about the outbreak, and why Quinnipiac students should care about it.
Professor Batty, thank you again for sitting down with me.
Thank you for having me.
We're discussing the current Ebola outbreak that is growing in the headlines and growing around the world. So first off, how did this Ebola outbreak begin?
Well, there are a number of opinions in terms of how the outbreak began. The most popular one, I should say, is one that has been published in the New England Journal of Medicine, saying that there was a patient 0, a 2-year-old kid somewhere in Guinea, in the border regions of Guinea, who contracted the disease from eating something that came from the forest.
The virus is now spread across 5 African nations so far, with what's being called like the hot zone in Liberia. And there's been almost 7,500 cases, with nearly half of those people passing away from the disease. Why is West Africa struggling so much to contain the spread of this virus?
There are a number of factors that explain that. First, the healthcare systems in these 3 countries that are the epicenters of the disease were already vulnerable, because they had just emerged about a decade or less than a decade even from long years of civil wars. But also in addition to that is the fact that there was some mystery as to the source of this outbreak, and so most people did not believe that this was Ebola because it had never occurred this far west in Africa.
Now, we're all being informed, especially in America, that this virus is now spreading beyond West Africa. There's been, there are people being treated here in America. There's been 1 confirmed case in Spain. Should the world as a whole be worried about a growing outbreak?
Yes and no. I say yes because we live in an interconnected world. No, because in other places such as America, for example, developed societies, they have much more efficient healthcare systems.
How should this outbreak further spotlight the need for improved healthcare in Africa?
If you look at the amount of money that has been spent since the civil wars ended in these regions, billions of dollars even on reforming infrastructures, rebuilding healthcare systems and so forth. Where has all that money gone? And those monies are taxpayer money from including America, European countries, and so forth. Given the amount of money that has been spent, those areas really should have had much better healthcare systems. But the money has pretty much gone down the drain. You can call it a huge sinkhole of corruption.
Why should students here care about Ebola?
Again, we're part of this global community of humanity, and so so something happening in these areas of the world should concern us and touch us.
Any final thoughts?
Whenever you have the opportunity as a QU student, instead of trying to raise donations and everything, instead seek to advocate, seek to reform the policies.
Well, Professor Batty, as always, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me, Taylor. It's my pleasure.
To see the rest of Taylor's A Look into the Ebola Crisis exclusive, go to Q30television.com and click on the News tab.
And now to our world news headlines with some breaking news regarding Ebola in America and the new search for a member of ISIS. Here is Brenna Oricoli with the latest.
Texas Ebola patient Thomas Eric Duncan has died, according to officials at Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital. Duncan was the first person diagnosed with the virus in the U.S. after being admitted to the hospital on September 28th. The Dallas hospital that treated Duncan is under scrutiny for sending him home the first time he went in showing symptoms. Outside America, officials in Spain announced Monday that a nurse assistant is the first person to contract the virus outside of Africa. It is believed Teresa Ramos developed Ebola by caring for Spanish missionaries who had worked in Africa, but returned to Spain after getting sick. Her husband has also been quarantined, and officials are considering euthanizing her dog. The FBI is asking Americans for help in identifying an English-speaking ISIS fighter. The militant is in a video that shows Syrian soldiers getting executed. The person in question speaks in both Arabic and perfect English in the video, and boasts a North American accent. Officials say the jihadist comes across as a very persuasive figure in the group. This news comes as U.S. officials say the Syrian city Kobani will most likely be taken over by ISIS, despite new airstrikes. Vietnamese tanker Sunrise 689 went missing off the coast of Singapore last week. The tanker was carrying 5,200 tons of oil and 18 crew members. Authorities believe the tanker was attacked by pirates an hour after departing. The ship is still currently missing. The mother of a 4-year-old preschool student is being investigated after her child brought 249 packets of heroin to daycare. The child thought the drugs were candy and handed the bags out to the students. The Delaware mother was released on a $4,000 bond and is under a court order not to contact her children. And the Supreme Court ruled in favor of adding 7 states to the list of those that allow same-sex marriage. After allowing rulings from multiple appeal courts, same-sex couples in Indiana, Oklahoma, Utah, Virginia, Wisconsin, and Nevada began lining up for marriage licenses this week. As of Wednesday, Supreme Court Justice Anthony M. Kennedy halted Idaho from joining the list after state officials requested a stay of the ruling. That's it for your world news headlines. I'm Brenna Oricoli. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Brenna. When we return to the Q30 Newscast, the top headlines in entertainment news.
And a look at the weather with Julia Timpanaro. Julia?
Coming up is the 7-day forecast. Stay tuned to find out on Q30.
We are your source for entertainment news.
The Bobcat Shop, located at 1010 Sherman Avenue in Hamden. Your #1 choice for Bobcat merchandise. The Bobcat Shop features 2 floors of countless styles and colors. With a full 19,000 square foot screen printing and embroidery operation on the premises, Campus Customs and Simplify can design and decorate any garment or promotional product as quickly as needed. Stop in and say hi.
And we have a
back to his Hollywood.
This is my mom.
Welcome, I'm Julia Timpanaro, and I'm going to be giving you your weather forecast. So let's just take a look at the map in general. If you look here, it is 68 degrees and it works its way down. So it's a nice little transition into fall. And then if you look more south, it's warmer, which I wish I was there because God knows it's a little chilly for me right now. That's our national weather. Oh, now we're going to come back to the weather and look at just kind of local areas. New Haven is 69 degrees, which is nice. So nice little brisk, wear a little leather jacket, look cute. God knows I love to look cute in my outfits. Norwich and New London are in the 60s as well. And hopefully we might miss the rain coming from the Midwest working its way up, but I'm not really sure how that's going to work. So let's hope we don't get rain because I don't want to bring out my rain boots. It's way too early for that. It rains so much up here in New England. And it is 47 degrees and clear with winds at 11 miles per hour. for tonight's forecast. And for tomorrow's forecast, it's 65 degrees and sunny with winds blowing at 12 miles per hour. So tomorrow's going to look really nice. And I'm going to tell you about the 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, I already told you how it's 65 degrees. And on Friday, it's going to be a little cloudy. And working into the weekend, it looks like it's going to be a little cloudy as well. But next week, it's going to be higher temperature-wise in the 60s to 70s. So hopefully, it's not going to get any lower than that. I'm Julie Timpanaro. I'm back to the desk.
And the movie Ted 2 is currently being filmed, but what got one celebrity fired from his role?
Dorah Labatte is here with more about entertainment news. Dorah?
Stephen Collins is admitting to molesting and exposing himself to young girls. In a secretly recorded therapy session by his estranged wife, Faye Grant, the Seventh Heaven star confesses to molesting an 11-year-old New York girl. The actor also admits to exposing himself to other underage girls. Collins was fired from his current role in the movie Ted 2 following the release of the story. Former Gossip Girl actress Blake Lively is pregnant with husband Ryan Reynolds. The star announced that she was expecting her first child by posting a picture of the baby bump on her website, Preserve. Congratulations to the young couple and their baby-to-be. Child star Raven-Symoné was spotted with her rumored girlfriend recently. Just last year, the star tweeted she could finally get married after the legalization of gay marriage. Symoné told Oprah Winfrey that she no longer wants to be labeled as an African American, but as an American. She released a statement Wednesday saying her intentions were to spotlight that she's an American. She added discussing race in America can be a positive. Charlie Sheen's last dentist appointment didn't go too well. Dental technician Margarita Palacino says during his treatment for abscess, the actor ripped off the nitrous oxide mask and screamed. Sheen then grabbed Palacino's bra strap and pulled it down in an attempt to open her bra. The actor then punched her in the chest and ran out of the dental chair. Sheen's publicist, Jeff Barden, said that the actor had a bad reaction to the combination of nitrous oxide with the pain medication Sheen was taking for his shoulder injury. Barden denies any use of illegal drugs or weapons during the incident. Does Keanu Reeves lock his door? The actor filed a temporary restraining order against 50-year-old Kelly Colin Ross for swimming in the pool and taking a shower in his home last month. Ross was taken into custody September 15th. The actor says that he will not feel safe when she is released from the psychiatric facility. There will be a hearing to extend the restraining order on October 22nd. That's all for your entertainment news. I'm Dorah Labatte. Now back to the desk.
Thanks so much, Dorah. When we return on the Q30 Newscast, we'll talk with John Alba about Monmouth University's new television deal with ESPN3 and how it could affect Quinnipiac.
And we'll take a look at Quinnipiac sports action. Stick with Q30. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Joya Spa and Salon in Hamden. Whether you want a new look or the perfect wedding day hair, come to us for complete hair and nail care, cuts, styles, updos, extensions, and beautiful dimensional hair color, as well as manis and pedis, acrylics, gels, and shellac. Treat yourself to a facial, a peel, or microdermabrasion. Relax with a variety of massage techniques, including Swedish and hot stone massage. Joya Spa and Salon. Call today.
Okay, so highlights for this week look pretty solid. Men's hockey versus Yale, men's basketball Iona. Got some pretty nice graphics too, some OTSs, full screens.
Yeah, and I was also thinking for a feature idea, we could do something about head coach Graham Peck with the men's ice hockey squad with the new year and new players.
Yes, that definitely sounds good. Yeah.
Young team. Wait a minute. Where's Mike?
What's up, guys? Sorry I'm late.
What are you doing?
What?
Freshman. Q30 Newscast is presented by Joya Spa and Salon. For more information, visit www.joyadayspa.com.
Welcome back to the Q30 Newscast. Sarah and I are now joined by Q30 correspondent John Alba. John, thank you for joining us.
Great to be here in the other seat for a change.
So, John, we brought you here today to discuss the article you recently wrote in the newly published Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network magazine. It's about Monmouth University's new initiative to broadcast its athletics on ESPN3. What's the main basis of the story?
So that's a great question, Mark, because sometimes all this stuff gets convoluted. You see, basically here, ESPN3 is an online broadcasting digital distribution platform for ESPN. Everyone's familiar with ESPN. But in order to watch ESPN, you turn on your television or you look elsewhere on the internet. Well, ESPN3 allows for games to be broadcast on the internet on any device, whether it's a laptop, a tablet, an iPhone, whatever it may be. So now Monmouth has signed on with the league, the MAC, to broadcast a large majority of its sporting events self-produced on ESPN3 for its fans to watch at any moment's notice. It has access to 95 million homes, so this is huge for a mid-major school.
And John, why is Monmouth taking these steps?
I mean, it comes down to that. 95 million is a huge number. So to get that Monmouth brand out there, Sarah, that's ultimately what this boils down to.
Now, do you think Monmouth will be able to pull this off? And if you do, why?
I think it's going to come down to circumstances here because Monmouth has limited resources. It's relying off its students, its staff, its athletic staff to help produce these multi-camera shoots, up to 6 cameras, full HD. Now, they've tested it in the past, but that's only a few games. Now they need to see if they can do this all the way around. Quinnipiac has tried this in the past too, and they didn't quite find as much success.
So why do you think this will work for Monmouth when it didn't for Quinnipiac last year?
That's also a good question. You see, Quinnipiac was using its own scoreboard feeds to broadcast and try to get its feed out to ESPN3. Well, ESPN officials saw that and they didn't take too kindly to it, and they wanted that extra effort to use ESPN graphics in the presentation. So they ended up going with Monmouth's presentation as is. I think Quinnipiac's going to need more funding to make it happen. It's going to take one heck of a commitment from the athletic department and from students involved.
All right, John, final question before we let you go. What does this mean for the future of not only college sports, but beyond that?
Well, and that's, Mark, what it ultimately boils down to. What is beyond? Everyone talks about Netflix, talks about HBO Go, Hulu Plus. People want to watch things whenever they want to watch it, however they want to watch it. If I want to go home and watch an episode of The Office, I can just go throw on Netflix. People want to be able to have the same exact thing with sports, whether it's professional or college. And especially in the case of college, if you are a parent whose son or daughter goes to school all the way across the country and you want to watch them play sports, you don't have to rely off a silly little athletics feed. You can get a professional ESPN quality. That's going to only take off for here in the future. And I'm not kidding when I say within 10 years, guys, this is going to take off and you're going to see mid-major schools, smaller schools, and obviously major schools all over the country doing something like this.
Well, thank you so much, John, for your perspective. And now from the world of sports media, we're going to turn to sports news.
Morey Hershgordon is here to give us all the details about the past week of Quinnipiac athletics. Morey?
Thanks, guys. Last night, the women's soccer team traveled to Providence for a non-conference matchup with the Brown Bears. A game that falls in midst of the MAC schedule allowed head coach Dave Clark to rest some of his starters and give some other members of the team an opportunity to play, a decision he would later regret. In the 5th minute, Brown forward Ella Warschauer netted her first career goal, compliments of Sarah Cobb and Michaela Waldman. Just 11 minutes later, Michaela Waldman notched another assist, this time setting up Sydney Callis for the second and final goal of the night. In their final tune-up before MAC play, the field hockey team looked to halt their 2-game losing streak when they faced the Brown Bears today. Just 3 minutes into the game, senior forward Danielle Allen got her team on the board when she fired a shot past Brown goalie Shannon McSweeney. Brown would find the equalizer in the second half, though, as Alexis Miller scored off a corner to knot the game at 1. As the momentum was shifting towards the Bears, Angie King had other plans. The sophomore registered her first career goal to help her Bobcats retake the lead 2-1. With under 5 minutes left in regulation, Savannah Riley padded the Bobcats' lead with a one-time strike from Dana Barlow. With the win, the Bobcats improved to 4-7. On Friday, they will travel to Albany, New York to face Siena in the team's first conference game of the year. Rick Seeley and his staff have a very promising season ahead. Following a program-best 22-6-9 record, along with a semifinal appearance in the ECAC Women's Hockey Championships, the Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team added a highly touted class of 2018. The 6-player recruiting class is highlighted by Taylor T.T. Cianferano, a 5'6" forward from Oswego, New York, who starred at the National Sports Academy in Lake Placid, New York. She recorded an astounding 113 points in her final 3 years. On Friday, Cianferano played in her first regular season game of her college career. How would she fare? Let's get right to the highlight. Quinnipiac and UConn. Quinnipiac's first game of the year, High Point Solutions Arena, a place where they always play well at home. They're geared up and excited to get going. Here in the first period, it's the Bobcats on the attack. Nicole Costa on the right side. Her slap shot saved by the UConn goalie, Eileen Chu Lee. And later on in the first period, TT Cianfrano gets tripped, but the Bobcats continue to have the puck. They will have the advantage. Erica Uden-Johansson's pass in the center to Cianfrano. She puts it past Chu Lee. The Bobcats go up 1-0, her first career goal. Into the second period, Bobcats have a 1-0 lead. Emma Woods passes it out to Lindsay West. Her shot on goal is redirected and scored by junior Nicole Brown, her first of the season. Bobcats up 2-0 at home. The fans are loving it. Cianfrano looking for her second of the night, but Chu Lee is there near post for the save, remains at 2. Taryn Baumgart slap shot on net, and a diving junior Nicole Connery gets on the puck. The ref points it in. 3-0 Bobcats at the end of 2. Bobcats will take their lead into the third period as UConn tries to get back into the game. It's Emily Snodgrass one-on-one with Chelsea Layden, but if you've ever seen it, it's Stonewall Jackson at her best. Chelsea Layden with a phenomenal save. UConn again trying to get on the board. This time it's Leah Lum from the right side. Layden once again with another fantastic stop. Chelsea Layden, the senior goalie, finishes her opener with 9 saves, and here's Coach Rick Seeley after the game.
The energy of our defense, we only went with 5D. We're still working in a couple freshmen. But I thought their energy was great, and I thought, we got the puck back pretty quick in our zone. We outmanned them in almost every battle situation and won almost all those battles. So I'm thrilled with the effort of the D. And Chelsea was solid. She didn't get a lot of shots, but she looked solid when they did come.
For more information about Quinnipiac sports, follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook at Q30 Sports.
Thanks so much, Morey. Staying with sports now, a young leukemia patient got to live his basketball dreams earlier this week. 5-year-old J.P. Gibson signed a one-day contract with the Utah Jazz on Monday night. On Tuesday, he found himself on the court with his teammates for Utah's annual preseason intra-squad scrimmage.
Gibson was diagnosed with acute lymphomoblastic leukemia in 2012 and achieved his dreams thanks to the Jazz and the Anything Can Be project. He reportedly signed his contract in purple crayon and even scored a slam dunk during the scrimmage.
Fantastic story overall. Watching the video, really nice to see.
Just great to see. So cute.
And that'll do it for this week's edition of the Q30 Newscast.
Stay connected with our news team throughout the rest of the week by visiting our Facebook page and following us on Twitter at Q30 News.
And be on the lookout for a new Q30 News Department project, the Q30 News Weekly Digest, which airs this Friday. Thank you for watching and have a good night.